Greetings! Today I'm going to do something I've seen a few other people do this week, and that is to rank the 23 movies in the MCU. And everyone else are true movie reviewers. They know a lot of the details and names of directors and all these characters and whatever. I know some, but I don't know everything. I'm just going to admit that right now. However, I have seen the movies. I've seen all these movies. Some of them only once, some of them multiple times, and I'm looking at what they've done and I'm saying, you know what, I'm not that far off from all of them, but I do have some things that are going to probably shake the world up, and so to speak, depending on how many people watch this, because, you know what, the way I review movies is if I like them, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and talk about a whole lot of other stuff. I'm not going to say, well, it was slow in the second act and it was fast in the third act, whatever. It's not going to be that kind of thing. I may mention a few things here and there, but we're going to try to keep this a little shorter than my norm. So we can start off by basically saying that number 23 and number 22 are the two Ant-Man movies. I could not watch either of these. I was just so bored. Nothing. The first movie, when it finally came out on HBO, I gave it 5 minutes. I said, nah, I'm not interested. And the second movie, I gave it a good 25, 30 minutes. I said, oh, I can't do this. I just didn't care. So I skipped to the end because I knew that the end credit was going to have something that had to do with, I think, Endgame. So I knew that, both things. So I did do that, but I just couldn't watch either one of those. So that gets rid of two movies right off the bat. So now let's look at number 21, which is Iron Man 2. Now, seeing everyone else, they have the debate between whether Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3 were the worst. I thought Iron Man 2 was just horrific. I could have cared less. I don't know why they needed Mickey Rourke in this movie, and the way that they used him was horrible. Even Mickey Rourke later on said, you know what, we shot a lot of stuff. I don't know why they made this movie out to be what it is. Horrible. I don't care that they brought a couple of folks in it, like, Natasha, Black Widow. Didn't care. I didn't really like this movie at all. One view. There you go. Number 20 on my list is Doctor Strange. And it sounds weird to say I didn't like Doctor Strange. I didn't understand it. I was so confused. I knew nothing about Doctor Strange, and I didn't obviously go see it at the theater. I waited until it showed up on Netflix. And I sat down one night and I watched it, and I just didn't understand any of it. Everyone else talks about how visually stunning it is. It just confused me. And by the way, I'm going to compare it to Inception, which is not a MCU movie. I gave that 20, 25 minutes, and I said, what is this? I have no idea what's going on. This is what Doctor Strange felt like to me. At least I watched the entire thing, but I just didn't get it. Number 19 on my list is Iron Man 3. And it's not a great movie. It's really not. Probably the only part I liked was the ending. There it is, just the ending. And basically the ending was 5 minutes. But I watched the entire thing. I thought maybe Ben Kingsley. Come on, you got an Oscar winner. This guy can act, but you just got him in the wrong role. No. Iron Man 3, horrible. Then we have number 18 on my list, which is Incredible Hulk. Now, I gotta tell you the truth. I did not hate Hulk like a lot of other people did. As a matter of fact, the rest of these movies I didn't hate. So, just to let you know. However, I thought that what made Incredible Hulk good was the final fight sequence between Hulk and the other giant, whatever they called him in that thing. And Hulk overcame that. I said, wow, this is great stuff. I really enjoyed that fight. I like Liv Tyler, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was fascinating with her. And that other guy, I thought it was interesting. I didn't hate Edward Norton. I didn't hate him. But, Incredible Hulk, I didn't think it was the worst movie in the world. Number 17, Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of people have this way higher than I have it, and they think it's better than the second one. And you know why I don't rank it higher? Because I've seen it twice, and I remember very little that happened. It didn't make a really big impression on me. I know that I didn't hate it. I know I watched the entire thing, but I don't remember almost anything. You know, the most that I remember about the movie was the ending, the end credit, when Groot is dancing to a Jackson 5 song. Favorite group? Here it is. I try to remember a whole lot of other stuff. I just don't remember lots of it. I remember that Howard the Duck showed up. I remember that there was a dance sequence. I think maybe even 2 dance sequences. Well, the movie opens up with a dance sequence, which I did not remember until Endgame. That just shows you where my mind was. So I don't remember it, but I didn't hate it when I watched it either time. I just don't remember it. And that's just how my mind works. Number 16 on my list is Thor: Dark World. I didn't hate this movie like a lot of people did. I really didn't. I thought that it was interesting when Asgard gets attacked. Whoever knew that kind of thing happened? I'm not big on the comic books from that period of Thor, so therefore I had no idea that Asgard's been attacked before. But I really didn't hate it. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I understood everything that was going on, and I really didn't. But I thought when they were on the Earth and you had all the circles happening and people were jumping all over the place, I thought that was kind of fascinating. I'm not going to say it was a great movie, but I liked it. I really did. I enjoyed it. I went to the theater and I saw this. So that's number 16 on my list. Number 15 on my list is totally different than what a lot of other people are saying, which is Spider-Man Far From Home. That's the new movie. I just saw that a couple of nights ago. And like I said, I've liked all the rest of these movies on here, and I like this movie. But it just seemed convoluted. It was jumping all over the place. This time I kind of understood everything, and I kept wondering early on, it's like, how come, Spider-Man is having trouble figuring this thing out? He's supposed to have that sixth sense thing. Well, because this is indicative or a reminder of what happened in Spider-Man 2 way back when Tobey Maguire, when all of a sudden he lost that sense. Remember, he was trying to do the thing and he just couldn't do any of the Spider-Man stuff. He couldn't stick to the walls. He couldn't use anything. Well, that's what this kind of reminded me of. He just didn't have that sixth sense. And there were a lot of things. And I can't believe, or I can't understand why everyone else is so excited that he's been outed by J.J. Jameson, or J. Jonah Jameson. I don't know. Everyone else thinks that's a wonderful thing. It's going to lead to all this stuff. I'm thinking, whoa, I didn't see that coming at all. That freaked me out. And he's like a 16-year-old kid in the movie. I know in real life he's 23, but he's a 16-year-old kid in the movie. Someone explain that to me. Maybe when we see movies later on in Phase 4, it will bring this all together and it'll be a good thing. I'm missing it right now. Number 14, Thor. I saw Thor 2 years after it came out. They were doing a showing at the library of all things. It was free, and they gave free popcorn. So I went, and I didn't think it was bad. I'm not going to say this was great, but I enjoyed it. Of course, I'm there for free with everyone else, having my popcorn. And I guess probably the only part that I thought was kind of weak is how it ended, with that giant robot doing whatever. Thor basically kicks his behind. And that's it. I mean, I thought that Thor was okay. And like I said earlier, I was not necessarily a big Thor fan with the comic books. So I really wasn't totally sure what I was going to see, but I saw it for free. I enjoyed it. Everyone else there enjoyed it. That's all I needed. Number 13 is Spider-Man Homecoming. This one I liked better than the other movie, obviously. And I guess my thought on it is that what everyone else liked about it was that it was Peter Parker trying to figure things out, and he did a lot of stupid things. I understand in this movie he's supposed to be 15, but he did a lot of stupid things that just didn't work out right. But I still like this movie better than the other one. It seemed to be better planned. I like the fact that Tony Stark, Iron Man, was in it. I love one of the end things there where Aunt May realizes who he is. I thought that was fascinating. I think Michael Keaton in this movie really was good. He really was. And this will shock all the younger people. I had no idea who Zendaya was until this movie. I didn't know who she was. And I waited till I bought the movie, so I didn't see it at the theater. And I understand she was big on Nickelodeon, I believe, but I had no idea who she was. But I liked her in this movie, and I liked the guy who played Ned. That guy is just so real. I just love that guy. Next on my list, number 12, Captain America: The First Avenger. I think it was, 6 or 7 years that this movie was out before I finally saw it, which was only a year and a half ago. I had never thought about watching Captain America. Captain America, once again, was not someone I liked as a comic book character. I just didn't like it, didn't understand it. And so it took, basically, I hate to say this, it took Avengers and it took Winter Soldier, which Winter Soldier, you'll see how I rank that, but it took those movies and then seeing Age of Ultron before my mind said, you know what, we got to go back and buy First Avenger and watch that. And I liked that. I really liked the entire movie. I like how, you know, he's this scrawny kid who's trying to fight for, he wants to fight for his country, but he's got to do all this other fighting. He takes these chances. He does this Steve Rogers thing. Really, come on. This guy was a great leader. And I enjoy Captain America from that point on. I'm not going to go back and read comic books, but I like this movie a lot. Number 11 on my list is Avengers Age of Ultron. And other folks ranked this movie a lot lower than I did. And I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought that it had a lot of action. I think that they probably didn't use the Romanoff kids as well as they probably should have. But I really liked this movie. I liked Ultron as a villain. I really liked that. I liked the big fight sequence at the end. Come on now. Is that all you got? And you had to ask. It was a funny scene. Some people complained that they killed off Quicksilver. I never really recognized, I did not remember that he had been in the X-Men movie. I didn't realize it was supposed to be the same character. Talk about confusing. So, there you go. But I really enjoyed this movie a lot. You got Jarvis. He was able to wield the hammer. So, I actually liked all the Avengers movies, but this is where I have this one. Number 10, Thor Ragnarok. Truthfully, the first time I saw this, I didn't get it. I didn't like it at all. But then I bought it. I said, yeah, I'm going to buy it. We're going to watch it again. And it was funny. This time I got it. I don't know why I didn't like it in the theater, but I liked it when I bought it. This is a funny movie. And it's a totally different Hulk because, you know, Banner has now been the Hulk for at least a couple of years. And he's talking and he's interacting. And I said, wow, this is a little way different than anything I would have expected. I liked him. Obviously, Thor did a great job in this movie. I like Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie in this movie. The Rock guy, come on, he was funny. You know who the weakest character in the movie was, of all things? Jeff Goldblum. I wasn't necessarily crazy about his character, but I enjoyed everything else about this movie. So, I laughed a lot. Thor Ragnarok. And Cate Blanchett as Death, or whatever they called her. I thought this movie was fun. And I laughed a lot. There you go. Number 9 on my list. Some folks are going to want to take my card. And if you don't know what that means, I ain't telling you. But Black Panther is number 9 on my list. And I enjoyed Black Panther. I saw it the day it came out, the Thursday before the Friday. I went there. I enjoyed this movie a lot. But I got disenchanted when I saw the bad guy whose name I'm forgetting right now. Someone's going to tell me right. Oh, Killmonger. When he picked up that woman by the throat and was holding her up like that, I said, no. I understand this, you know, it's supposed to be the 90s and all this other kind of stuff. That just really turned me off. And I had trouble enjoying the rest of the movie after that. Now, of course, I did buy it later on and I watched it again a couple of times. But that just bothered me to no end. And I was troubled by a lot of people later on saying how he was this great villain and how they loved it and they actually saw what he saw. And I'm thinking, no, this is the problem with people who get like that, is that they forget to have at least some kind of civility and whatever. I mean, really, come on. He's choking this woman and he's going to burn everything else? No. Obviously, though, I like T'Challa. Y'all know who I like. I loved Shuri. I mean, come on. It was really a fascinating movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I just didn't like the villain after that part. Sorry, that's just me. Number 8 in my movie, Captain Marvel. A lot of people rank this one low. I don't get what people don't like about this movie. Maybe because a lot of these folks knew who this was beforehand. I had no clue. I did not know Captain Marvel here. I didn't know Shazam. I knew nobody. All I knew is that I thought that this would be a fascinating movie. I loved Brie Larson in this movie. I thought she was funny. I like the little facial tics, that's what I'm calling them anyway, that she did in this movie. I thought Samuel L. Jackson was great in this movie. I loved that we met the new people. I liked, no one liked the Kree. I can't remember what the shapeshifters are called. I just don't remember right now. But I like this movie a lot. And some folks thought it was like slow and plodding. I'm thinking for someone like me who knew nothing about it, this is exactly what I needed. Because we knew about Captain Marvel coming because we'd seen that end credit in Infinity War. But I didn't even know that. When everyone else in the theater was cheering, I'm like, what are you cheering for? What is that? So I just felt like I had no clue what anything was. You know, I'm an older guy. I hate to admit I'm close to 60, but I am. So I had no idea about any of this. But I really like this movie a lot. Number 7 on my list is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. People rank this one lower than the other one. I laughed throughout this movie. I thought it was the funniest thing. Come on, this opening sequence with Groot dancing to the song and chasing after the little monsters while the rest of them are fighting that giant thing, that was funny. The gold painted people, you know, who are fighting with drones and think they're gonna win whatever. I just really like this movie a lot. I watched this sucker a few times. I didn't see it at the theater again, but I did see it, you know, bought it when it came out. And I really liked it. I thought it's just the funniest thing. Groot, come on, baby Groot, you had to love that. And the interactions with Rocket and everything else. This movie I really liked a lot. So that's why it's number 7 on my list. Number 6 on my list is Iron Man. Obviously, everyone else has said it. I'm going to say it. This started the whole thing. I didn't think way back at the time that Robert Downey Jr. was the right choice. But then again, what do I know? I didn't think Michael Keaton was the right choice for Batman, and look what he did with that role. So I really liked Iron Man. Everyone liked Iron Man. I saw it at the theater because a friend of mine wanted to go. I didn't want to go see this, but I saw this, and I enjoyed it. I remember the Iron Man cartoon. I actually liked the Iron Man cartoon. So we went, we saw this movie. It was great. The only part I'm not necessarily crazy about is the end of the movie. When he's fighting Jeff Bridges, who's in the other robot shoot. Yeah. But still, overall, I really enjoyed Iron Man. I loved Robert Downey Jr. And boy, he really played the heck out of that character in all these movies. Even if I didn't like Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3, Robert Downey Jr. was the man. That's just it. Number 5 on my list is Captain America Civil War. Some folks rank this lower. I can't really see why. The airport scene. That's all we talked about was the airport scene. You got Avengers on the left, Avengers on the right, and they matched everyone up perfect. And it was just a great battle scene. I enjoyed the whole movie. Now, I did hear some critics who said everything that happened was just too convenient. How did it work out that way? There's so many things that could have gone wrong. You know what? That can happen in any type of movie. Come on, really? That was your only complaint? This is supposed to be fun. This ain't, rocket science here. This is not something that's supposed to be perfect all the way around. Everything just worked out for this guy. And he was the right criminal for this. I mean, he knew his stuff. All the battles, we got introduced to Black Panther in this one. I really like this a lot. When I bought this movie, I probably watched it 3 times in the first week. So I really enjoyed Captain America Civil War a lot. Number 4 is the original Avengers, the first Avengers movie. This is the one that introduced me to Captain America. It's the one that really introduced me to Black Widow. We see Clint, although he's off on the other side. At the time, early on, he's the kind of, he's been zapped. So he's kind of a bad guy, but he comes back around. I liked this movie. The scene in New York City. The freaky thing is I live in New York State, but I spent 3 months in New York City consulting somewhere, and it's like you see things like, oh my God, I know where that is. I know where that is. It's so weird. But this movie was just everything. It had aliens from outer space. They weren't used to that. Aliens coming from outer space and doing all this stuff. And it was just wild. I love Hulk smash, and he smashed. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. He did his thing. He went to give his life for New York City. He didn't, luckily, but he was ready to do it. I'm sorry. I had a good time with this movie. I loved it. I saw this at the theater twice. and we're going to talk about some other stuff. I saw this in the theater twice. I really like this movie a lot. Number 3 on my list is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Years ago, I did another video where there's actually, turns out to be 45, well now there's 46 movies in the Avengers or Marvel's movies. There's a ton of them. And I did a top 5. And at the time, I said my number 1 movie was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And even Honest Trailers did this, and they said, you know what, this is almost perfect movie. We don't have anything bad to say about it. I didn't either. Obviously, I had no idea of Winter Soldier, but I thought that from start to finish, this was an almost perfect movie. I can't think of anything that's wrong with this movie whatsoever. And I loved it. I didn't know anything about Hydra. Turns out some other people did. I knew nothing about Hydra. I really hadn't paid attention to the SHIELD angle, but really, this was fantastic. This is the movie that really said, Captain America, you know what, dude, you the man. Doesn't matter what anyone else says, you are the man. Yes, you've been enhanced, but you don't have like radar, you can't fly. Wow. And of course we meet Sam in this one, who turns out to be Falcon, and I just enjoyed this a lot. I really thought that this would be my number 1 movie of all time. Unlike a lot of other people, I really didn't pay attention for the longest time that there were going to be other movies that were all kind of building up. Whatever. Number 2 on my list is going to be surprising because for everyone else, this is number 1 on their list, but it's number 2 for me, which is Avengers Endgame. I know it's made tons of money. Avengers Endgame is the only movie that I paid 3 times to go see while it was still out in the theaters. I liked the movie a lot. I really did. It had the great action sequences. It brought folks back who went down in Infinity War. It was just one of those kind of things. It's like, wow, we've got the past Thanos who's able to make it into the future, and we've got this battle and he's kicking behind, but then everyone else comes and it's a big fight and everything else is going on, and it was very well done. 5 years into the future, it was a well done movie. There is no complaint. It's a great movie. Everyone else, if you rank this movie number 1, you're good. But I ranked Infinity War as my number 1 movie. Why? Because we didn't know what was going to happen. If anyone says that they knew they were going to lose, and lose the way they lost in Infinity War before we saw it, I ain't buying it. Not buying it at all. Because I didn't know. I really didn't see this type of thing happening. And the difference with Endgame is that we knew everybody was coming back. You know how we knew? Because they had already announced there was a Spider-Man movie coming. So it's like, well, geez, if Spider-Man's going to come back and he's the youngest one, you know, they got to find a way to bring everyone else back. So you knew that was going to happen. You didn't know that some folks were going to die in the movie or do some of the other things they did, but you knew they were coming back. Infinity War, we didn't know that was going to happen. We just didn't. The battle on New York City, the battle on Titan, the battle, just, oh my God, this movie here. I watched this movie maybe 10, 15 times. I just kept watching this movie over and over, looking to see what I had missed. And I had to keep watching because there were things that I did miss. Wonderful stuff. Infinity War is what gave me the hunger to see Endgame as soon as I could. So, Infinity War is my top movie. Anyway, there you go. There's my top 23, or, you know, ranking them in order. If you eliminate those other 2, this is mine. There you go. If this lets me do it, I'm going to link to the other 2 sites that I enjoyed the most in hearing how they rank their movies, so that you can compare theirs to mine. Hopefully this works, and if it doesn't let me do it, then I will link below. So, my name is Mitch Mitchell. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts. Talk to y'all later.